The rain began without warning, as if the sky had torn open along an old seam. Cold water beat against the windows of the community music school, washing the last bright colours out of October. The red leaves, the gold ones, the copper ones, all of them blurred together into one grey river running along the sidewalk. I was sitting alone at the grand piano in the largest practice room. My name is Vivian Parker. Back then, I was 35 years old, a piano teacher in a small coastal town in Maine, and I had become very good at staying late. Too good. The other teachers went home when lessons ended. The students ran out with backpacks bouncing against their shoulders. The janitor, Mr. Harris, would wave from the hall and say, "You know where the key is, Vivian." I did know. I always knew where the key was. I knew how to lock the front door, how to turn off the lights, how to check the windows, how to make the building look as if no one had ever been lonely inside it. Home was harder. At home, nobody waited for me. The silence in my apartment had corners. It sat in the kitchen chair, followed me into the bedroom, filled the space beside me on the couch. At the school, at least, there was music. There were notes and scales, and children who forgot their books, and mothers who checked their watches. There was movement. There was sound. That evening, I was playing Chopin, the Nocturne in E-flat major, the one that always felt less like a performance and more like a conversation with the version of myself I never became. My fingers moved without much thought. The melody began gently, almost like a lullaby, then grew restless, searching, aching, as if the heart inside the music was trying to remember something it had buried. I closed my eyes. That was why I did not hear the door open. "I'm sorry, we are late." The voice cut through the music, low and rough, warm at the edges. My hands froze above the keys. The last chord hung in the air, trembling, then disappeared into the rain. I turned slowly. A man stood in the doorway, soaked from the storm. Water clung to his dark hair, where the first silver threads showed near his temples. His coat was black and heavy, pasted to his broad shoulders. His face was tired, handsome in a worn way, with a narrow white scar crossing his left eyebrow. But his eyes were what stopped me. Brown, deep, watchful, alive with an exhaustion that looked too familiar. Behind him stood a girl of about 8. She was small and thin, with straight brown hair cut just above her shoulders. Her raincoat was too bright for the weather, a stubborn yellow thing that made her look like a candle flame in a dark room. She held a folder against her chest with both arms. "The beginner lesson," the man said. "For Chloe Walker. We got caught in the rain." I blinked, trying to become a teacher again. "You must be Mr. Walker." "Adrian," he said, "please, and I know we are late. If you cannot take us today, I understand." The girl stared at me as if she had already decided not to trust me. "We can still do a short lesson," I said. "Come in before you both freeze." Adrian looked relieved in a way that made me wonder how many small refusals he had endured that week. "Thank you." Chloe did not move. "Chloe," he said gently, "I don't want piano." Her voice was flat, but not bored, defensive. She said it the way someone might say, "I don't want medicine," or "I don't want to talk about what happened." Adrian lowered himself slightly so he was closer to her height. "We talked about trying. You talked. I was there." I had taught children long enough to hear the difference between rudeness and pain wearing rude clothes. "That is fair," I said. Both of them looked at me. "It is hard to try something you did not choose," I continued, "especially after a long day, especially when your socks are probably wet." Chloe glanced down at her boots. "They are." "Then we will make a deal. No big lesson today, just meet the piano. If you still hate it after 10 minutes, you can hate it with evidence." For the first time, her expression shifted. Not a smile, not yet, but something loosened. She walked in. That was how I met them, in rain, in a half-empty music school, with Chopin still fading from the room, and a little girl pretending she did not care about anything. The first lesson lasted 14 minutes. Chloe sat on the bench with her shoulders up around her ears. She would not place her hands on the keys until I moved away from her side. She flinched when the low notes rumbled. She pressed one middle C with one finger, then stared at me as if daring me to praise her too much. "That is middle C," I said. "I know." "Good. Then you are already ahead of half the adults I know." Adrian stood near the door, still dripping rain onto the floor, watching his daughter with an expression I could not read. Hope, maybe. Fear. The kind of attention parents give when they are trying not to interfere and failing silently. At the end, I gave Chloe one small assignment. Find middle C 3 times this week. That is all. "That's stupid." "It is simple. There is a difference." She studied me. "Will I have to play songs?" "Eventually." "Sad songs?" The question came too quickly. Adrian's face changed. I kept my voice even. "Only when you are ready, and not all sad songs are bad. They make people cry. Sometimes people need a place to put the tears." Chloe looked away. Adrian paid for the lesson at the front desk, though I told him it should only count as half. He insisted. When they left, Chloe turned back once from the hallway. "You play too loud when you were alone," she said. Then she disappeared into the rain. I stood there for a long moment, holding the receipt, listening to the front door close. I should have forgotten them as soon as I locked the school. Teachers meet families all the time. Some stay, some vanish after 1 month, some pay late, some ask if their child can be ready for Carnegie Hall by spring, while the child cannot yet sit still for 3 minutes. You learn not to attach too quickly. But the next week I found myself watching the clock. They arrived early. Adrian had changed into a dry shirt, his hair combed back neatly, and without the rain on him, he looked younger, almost softer. Chloe carried the same folder, but this time she walked into the room without being coaxed. "I found the C," she announced. "Only one?" "You said 3 times. I found it all 3 times." "Impressive." "It is in the same place every time." "That helps." Adrian leaned against the doorway, and I saw the ghost of a smile cross his face. That lesson lasted the full 30 minutes. Chloe was not easy. She questioned everything. Why did fingers have numbers? Why did notes need names? Why did people call a song happy if it sounded like someone lying? She hated making mistakes so much that she preferred not to try. When she hit a wrong note, she would jerk her hands into her lap and glare at the keys as if they had betrayed her. I did not push. I had learned the hard way that some children needed challenge and some needed permission to be bad at something without being abandoned. After the lesson, Adrian lingered. "She practiced," he said quietly, as Chloe zipped her coat in the hall. "I can tell." She would not admit it. "Of course not." He gave a tired laugh. "Thank you for being patient." She is not the first stubborn student I have had. She may be the most stubborn. That sounds like pride disguised as an apology. He looked at me then, and for 1 second the air between us shifted. Not romance, not yet, just recognition. 2 adults standing in a hallway, each carrying more than they were saying. "Maybe," he said. Over the next weeks, the rain turned colder and Chloe kept coming. She learned where her hands belonged. She learned how to count, though she considered counting an insult to intuition. She learned a simple melody and pretended not to be pleased when she played it correctly. She never talked about her mother, but her mother was in every room with us. I knew because grief has a sound. It is not always crying. Sometimes it is a child snapping, "I know," before anyone has accused her of ignorance. Sometimes it is a father checking his phone, even when no one is calling. Sometimes it is the empty space after a sentence where a name should be. One evening, after Chloe's 4th lesson, she asked me if I was married. Adrian looked up sharply from the chair by the wall. "Chloe? What? I just asked." I closed the fallboard over the keys slowly. "No," I said, "I am not married." "Why not?" "That is a large question for a Tuesday." "You're pretty." The compliment was delivered as an accusation. I felt something tighten in my throat. Being pretty does not guarantee anything. "Did someone leave?" Adrian stood. "Chloe, enough." But she kept looking at me, not curious, needing. I could have lied. I could have said the clean teacher answer, something about life being complicated. Instead, I said, "Yes." Chloe's eyes narrowed. "And did you get over it?" The room seemed to shrink. I thought of a different October, years earlier. A man named Marcus who had promised forever with the ease of someone who had never had to mean it. A small apartment full of boxes. A wedding dress still in its garment bag when he told me he had fallen in love with someone else. The humiliation of returning gifts. The pity in people's voices. The months when I felt as if I had been placed outside my own life and told to watch through the glass. "Not all at once," I said. Chloe watched me without blinking. "Then how?" "I learnt to breathe first, then I learnt to make breakfast, then I learnt to stop waiting for an apology that was never coming. Then, very slowly, I learnt that what happened to me was not all I was." For a long time she said nothing. Then she whispered, "So you understand?" And Adrian looked at me with such gratitude, such helplessness, that I had to look away. After that, Chloe changed. Not dramatically. She did not become cheerful overnight. But she began to speak to me as if I were a real person and not merely an adult assigned to the room. She told me she hated mushrooms, that her teacher at school smelled like peppermint, that her father burned toast but pretended it was extra crispy. She told me the piano sounded like weather. "What kind of weather?" I asked. "Depends who is playing." "And when you play?" She thought about it. "Like snow that is not sure if it wants to fall." I wrote that down after she left. I should have kept more distance. That is easy to say now. But loneliness does not announce itself as danger. It arrives disguised as kindness, as a child's trust, as a man waiting in the hallway with his coat over his arm, asking whether you got home safely because the roads were icy. One Friday, the power went out during Chloe's lesson. The storm outside had been building all afternoon, rattling the windows and making the old school lights flicker. Chloe was in the middle of a simple exercise when the room went black. Somewhere in the hall, a younger child screamed. Then the emergency lights clicked on, turning everything dim and reddish. Chloe went rigid. Adrian crossed the room in 2 steps. "It's all right," he said. "I know," she snapped too quickly, but her hands were trembling on the bench. I opened the lid of the piano again. "Do you know what musicians did before electricity?" Chloe stared at me. "They suffered?" "Constantly. But they also played by candlelight." "We don't have candles." "We have emergency lights and a very dramatic storm. That is close enough." I played the simplest melody I knew, one hand only, soft enough that the rain remained louder. Chloe watched my fingers. Adrian stood behind her, not touching, waiting to see what she needed. After a minute, I moved over. "Your turn." "I can't see the notes." "Then don't read. Listen." She frowned, but she placed one finger on the key and copied the first note. Then the second, then the third. The melody wobbled, fell apart, returned. In the red half-dark, with rain striking the windows, Chloe played by ear for the first time without fighting herself. When the lights came back, she blinked as if waking from a dream. "That was weird," she said. "Good weird or bad weird?" "I don't know yet." Adrian looked at me over her head. It was only a glance, but it stayed with me the rest of the night. Adrian and I began talking after lessons. At first it was about Chloe, her frustration, her progress, her habit of memorising music by ear and pretending she had read the notes. Then it became weather, books, the old houses along the harbour, the best coffee in town. He was an architect, though he had taken fewer projects since his wife died. He worked from home now, drawing renovations for people with more money than patience, while learning how to braid his daughter's hair badly. "I watched 3 videos," he admitted once. "Still terrible." "Bring her early next week. I can show you." He looked embarrassed. "You do not have to." "I know." The next week, Chloe arrived with her hair in a lopsided braid and the expression of a person enduring public tragedy. "Dad tried," she said. "I can see the intention. Is that teacher talk for awful? It is teacher talk for fixable." Adrian stood behind her, trying not to smile. I fixed the braid before the lesson. Chloe sat very still while I worked, and when my fingers brushed the back of her neck, I felt her hold her breath. "Too tight?" I asked. "No. Tell me if it hurts." "It doesn't." When I finished, she ran to the mirror in the corner. "It looks like Mom used to do it," she said. The words came out before she could stop them. Adrian went pale. Chloe turned back quickly, her face closing. "I mean, whatever." But I saw her touch the braid twice during the lesson. That night, Adrian sent me a message. "Thank you." I stared at the 2 words for too long before answering. "You are welcome." Then another message came. She talked about Rebecca tonight. Rebecca, his wife's name. I typed and deleted several replies before settling on one. "I am glad she could." "So am I," he wrote. "I think you made that possible." I set the phone down and walked away from it as if it was something hot. The trouble with being needed is that it feels almost the same as being loved, at least from a distance. Winter came early that year. The first snow fell during Chloe's lesson. She was practicing a simple waltz, one hand at a time, scowling with concentration. Adrian sat near the window with a book open on his lap, though I do not think he read a page. Chloe hit a wrong note and slapped both hands down. "I hate this!" "Which part?" "The part where it sounds ugly when I know how it should sound." "That is the beginning of becoming good." "That is stupid." "Many true things are." She twisted on the bench and saw the snow outside. Her face changed, not wonder, fear. Adrian stood too quickly. "Chloe." She slid off the bench. "I want to go. We can take a break." "No, I want to go home." Her voice had gone thin. Adrian crossed the room, but she stepped back from him. "I said I want to go." They left without finishing the lesson. Later that evening, Adrian called. I almost did not answer. "Vivian," he said when I did. His voice sounded scraped raw. "Is she all right?" "She is asleep now." "What happened?" There was a long pause. "Rebecca died in the first snow." I closed my eyes. "I am so sorry." It was leukemia. She had been sick for a long time, but the last bad night was the first snowfall of the year. Chloe remembers the window, the snow, the ambulance lights. The image settled over me, terrible and quiet. "She was so little," he said. "I keep thinking maybe she does not remember clearly. Then something like today happens and I realize her body remembers even when she tries not to." I sat at my kitchen table, the phone pressed to my ear, listening to him breathe. "Can you come early tomorrow?" he asked. "Before lessons? I need to talk without Chloe." "Yes," I said it too quickly. The next morning, the school smelled of wet wool and old radiators. Adrian was already waiting outside my classroom, holding 2 coffees he had clearly forgotten were in his hands. "I owe you an explanation," he said. "You do not owe me anything." "I think I do." We sat in the empty room with the piano between us like a third person. He told me about Rebecca. They had married young. She had been a singer, not famous, not even trying to be, but the kind of person who sang while washing dishes and made strangers turn their heads in grocery store aisles. She had loved Chloe fiercely. When she got sick, she tried to keep the house bright. She left notes and lunch boxes. She recorded bedtime stories. She made Adrian promise things, because dying people sometimes try to arrange the world for those who remain. "She asked me not to replace her," he said. His hands were clasped so tightly his knuckles whitened. Those were her words? Not exactly. She said, "Do not let anyone take my place." I know what she meant. I know she was scared. But Chloe heard it once. She was supposed to be asleep, but she heard it. He looked at the floor. After Rebecca died, Chloe started guarding everything. Her mother's mug, her scarf, Her side of the couch, me, especially me. If I laughed with another woman, she shut down. If someone brought dinner over and stayed too long, Chloe would ask when they were leaving. I thought time would help. Time helps some things, I said, not secrets. He looked at me. That is what I am afraid of. I should have listened to the warning in that sentence. Instead, I let myself care more. Over the next month, the three of us fell into a pattern that looked harmless from the outside. Chloe had lessons twice a week. Adrian and I spoke afterward. Sometimes, if the lesson ended late, we all walked to the bakery on the corner because Chloe claimed their cinnamon rolls were almost worth being alive for, which made Adrian close his eyes in alarm and me hide a smile. Chloe began asking whether I would come to her school recital. Not the music school recital, her regular school, where she had 2 lines in a winter program and considered the whole thing beneath her. "You do not have to," she said. "I would like to. It is not a big deal. Then it will be easy to attend." She shrugged, but she wrote the date on a sticky note and pressed it into my hand. Adrian watched from the doorway. There are moments when life gives you a choice so quietly you can pretend you did not hear it. I heard it. I kept moving closer anyway. The night everything broke, Chloe had a difficult lesson. She was tired from school and angry before she sat down. Every mistake became proof that the world was unfair. She snapped at me, then at her father, then at herself. I suggested we stop and do rhythm games instead. "I am not a baby," she said. "No one said you were." "Then stop talking to me like one." Adrian's voice sharpened. "Chloe." She shoved the music book off the stand. It hit the floor with a slap. Silence filled the room. Chloe's face crumpled for half a second before she hardened it again. "I hate piano." "That is all right," I said. "I hate this room." "That is all right too." "I hate you." Adrian took a step toward her. "Enough!" But I raised my hand slightly to stop him. I had heard those words from children before. Usually they meant, "I am scared you matter." "You are allowed to feel that," I said. Chloe stared at me, furious that I had not broken. "No, you don't understand. You came here and now everything is weird. Dad smiles and then looks sad. You talk like you know us. You fixed my hair. You came to the bakery. You are everywhere." Her voice rose. "You are trying to take her place." The sentence struck the room like a thrown glass. Adrian went white. I could not speak. Chloe ran to the storage cabinet in the corner, yanked it open and pulled out her folders so hard, loose papers spilled everywhere. Drawings, sheet music, old photographs, a folded letter. "Mum said nobody could take her place." "Chloe, stop," Adrian said, but panic had ruined his voice. She clutched the letter to her chest. "You promised her!" I stepped back. On the floor, near my shoe, lay an old photograph. Rebecca, smiling, holding a much younger Chloe in her arms. Adrian stood beside them, younger, lighter, not yet hollowed by grief. Beside the photograph, the folded letter had opened just enough for me to see the first line on the back. "Adrian, when the pain becomes quieter." Then a draft moved the paper and the words were gone. "I should go," I said. Adrian turned to me. "Vivian, wait!" But Chloe was crying now, silent tears running down her face while she stood in front of the cabinet like a guard at a locked gate. I put on my coat with shaking hands. The buttons would not find their holes. In the hallway, the school smelled of dust and winter boots. I walked out into the snow and did not let myself look back. That night, Adrian called. I watched my phone ring until it stopped. Then it rang again. This time I answered. "Vivian," he said, and the way he said my name told me he had already made a decision that would hurt. "How is Chloe?" "Asleep, finally." There was a silence. "Can you come early tomorrow? I need to talk without her." I knew what that meant. Still, I went. The next morning he stood by the piano, looking as if he had aged years overnight. "Chloe read the letter again after you left," he said, out loud. Then she looked at me as if I had already betrayed her mother. I folded my hands together so he would not see them tremble. She is a child in pain. Yes. That does not make the pain less real. No. He turned toward the window. She woke up screaming. Then she said, "If you choose her, it means you do not love Mum anymore." I felt something inside me fold in on itself. Adrian. He raised one hand, not rudely, but desperately. "Please, let me finish." I went quiet. "You do not understand what it is like," he said, "to promise someone dying that you will protect what is left of them." The words landed hard, not because they were cruel, because part of him believed them. I stood very still. "You are right," I said. He looked at me sharply. "Vivian, I did not mean—" "You meant enough." My voice was calm in a way that frightened me. "I cannot become another thing Chloe has to survive, and I cannot stand here waiting for you to decide whether I am a threat or a person. That is not fair. No, none of this is fair." I picked up my bag. "I will finish the month with Chloe if you want. Then I think it would be better if you found another teacher." His face changed. "Do not do that because of me. I am doing it because of all of us." That was the lie I chose because the truth was too naked. The truth was that I was already in love with him, and worse, I loved Chloe too. The days after that felt unreal. I wrote a resignation letter to the school, then did not send it, then wrote another. I told myself I could move to Boston, where an old colleague had offered me part-time work. I told myself leaving would be mature, clean, responsible, the kind of sacrifice people admire because they do not have to live inside it. Adrian sent one message. I had no right to say that. "Please let me apologize." I did not answer. Chloe came to her next lesson with a neighbor, Mrs. Monroe. She was pale, tight-mouthed, carrying the folder as if it were armor. For 20 minutes she played every note wrong on purpose. I let her. Finally, she slammed both hands into her lap. "Why aren't you mad?" "Because you are already mad enough for both of us." "I don't care if you leave." "I know." "Good. Good." She glared at me. Then her chin trembled. "If you leave, Dad will be sad." "Maybe. And I will not care." "Maybe." "Stop saying maybe." I sat beside her on the bench, leaving space between us. "Chloe, you do not have to choose between loving your mother and letting your father be less alone." Her eyes filled. "You don't know that." "No, I do not know everything, but I know love does not disappear because more love enters a room." She whispered, "Mum did." I had no answer for that. Some sentences are too heavy for wisdom, so I only said, "I am sorry." She cried then, not loudly, not the dramatic sobs children use when they want something. Quiet, ashamed tears. I put my arm around her carefully, giving her every chance to pull away. She did not. After a moment, she leaned into me. "Do not tell Dad." "I will not tell him in a way that embarrasses you. That is not the same." It is the best I can promise. That evening, Adrian waited outside the school. He did not come in. He stood beyond the glass door in a dark coat, snow gathering on his shoulders, as if he were ready to stand there all night. I went out. "Vivian," he said, "do not ask me to make this easier for you." He closed his eyes. "I am not." "You are." His breath shook. "I am failing everyone." The pain in his voice almost undid me. "You are grieving," I said. "So is Chloe. But grief does not give you permission to push people away and call it protection." He looked at me then. "I know. Do you?" "I am trying." I wanted to forgive him. I wanted to step forward and let the snow cover the argument. I wanted the story where pain makes people wiser quickly, but pain often makes people clumsy first. "I bought a train ticket," I said. His face went still. "For when?" "Next week." "Vivian, I have an offer in Boston. Is that what you want?" The answer rose in me so fast I almost said it. "No." Instead, I said, "It may be what I need." He nodded once, as if the movement hurt. "I found something," he said. "What?" "Not yet. I need to understand it first." I was too tired to ask. The next day, I tried to pack. That should have been simple. I lived alone. My apartment held no grand history, no rooms full of children, no attic of family things. Still, every object seemed to ask why I was leaving. The blue scarf Chloe had once said made me look less like a teacher. The mug Adrian had brought me from the bakery because I always forgot to eat breakfast. The folder of student music with Chloe's crooked pencil marks in the margins. I took books from the shelf and put them in a box. Then I took them out again because the box looked too final. My sister called from Vermont. I had not told her much, only enough for her to know there was a man, a child, and trouble. "Do you want advice?" she asked. "No." Good. I was going to give it anyway. I sat on the floor between two half-packed boxes. Of course you were. Are you leaving because there is no place for you there, or because there is a place and that scares you? I hated her for asking the right question. It is complicated. That is what people say when the truth is simple and painful. I looked at Chloe's music folder on the table. There is a little girl. There is always a little girl in these stories. She lost her mother. My sister's voice softened. And you think leaving will make the loss cleaner? I did not answer. Vivian, she said, you are allowed to protect yourself, but do not call it kindness if it is only fear wearing a nicer coat. After we hung up, I sat there for a long time. Fear does not always shout. Sometimes it speaks in responsible sentences. It says, step back, be mature, spare everyone. Sometimes it is right. Sometimes it is only trying to keep you from standing where love might ask something real of you. That night, sleep would not come. Near midnight, my phone buzzed with a message from a number I did not recognize. There was no text, only an audio file. For several minutes, I stared at it, heart pounding for no reason I could name. Then another message appeared, from Rebecca. She asked me to send this if I ever thought it was time. I am sorry I waited so long. It was signed, Margaret, Rebecca's sister. My hands went cold. I pressed play. At first there was only static, then the faint sound of hospital machines. A woman breathed in, carefully, as if every breath had to be negotiated. "Hello," she said. Her voice was weak but clear, with a warmth that hurt to hear. "My name is Rebecca Walker. If you are listening to this, then either my husband kept my old phone, or my sister finally did the thing I begged her to do if everyone got too scared." I sat down because my knees had stopped trusting me. "I do not know you," Rebecca continued, "but if Adrian has let you close to Chloe, then you must have a kind heart. And if Chloe is angry at you, then you already matter to her more than she wants to admit." Tears rose so suddenly I could barely breathe. "I am recording this in the hospital. I do not want to sound noble. I am not noble. I am frightened. I am jealous of time I will not have. I am angry that another woman may one day hear Chloe laugh across a kitchen table when I cannot. I am angry that Adrian may one day smile at someone and mean it." Her voice cracked. "But I love them more than I love my fear." I pressed my hand over my mouth. "If you are the woman who finds them after me, please understand something. Chloe may fight you. She may test every door inside you. She may say cruel things because she is trying to prove you will leave before she lets herself need you. Adrian may be worse. He will call it loyalty when sometimes it is only terror. He will confuse standing still with keeping a promise." There was a pause, a thin breath. "Do not replace me. You cannot. That is not what I want. But please, if you love them, do not let my memory become a locked room they have to live inside forever." I was crying openly now. "Open a window," Rebecca whispered. "Play music. Make tea. Let my daughter be loved by more than a ghost. Let my husband remember he is alive. And if he tries to send you away because he is afraid, tell him I said he is being an idiot." A weak laugh broke through her tears. "I hope you are smiling. I hope he is embarrassed. I hope Chloe rolls her eyes. because she does that when she is trying not to cry. The machines beeped quietly. "I am scared to die," Rebecca said, "but I am more scared that they will stop living. So if you can, whoever you are, stay. Not at any cost, not if they hurt you and refuse to learn. But if there is love there, real love, give them a chance to learn how to come back." Her voice thinned. "Tell Chloe I did not leave because I wanted to. Tell Adrian the promise was never meant to be a prison. Tell them..." The recording ended on an inhale. No goodbye, no final sentence, just the unbearable sound of a woman trying to say more than time allowed. I sat in the dark kitchen for a long time, the phone on the table in front of me. Outside, snow fell softly under the streetlight. Inside, something in me stopped running. In the morning, I came to the school before anyone else. I took the resignation letter from my bag and tore it into strips, slowly. One strip, then another, then another. With each tear, I felt less brave and more honest. Leaving would have been easier, but easier was not the same as right. Chloe arrived with Adrian that afternoon. Both looked as if they had slept badly. Chloe would not meet my eyes. Adrian looked at me as if waiting for punishment. I began the lesson as usual, scales first, then the waltz. Chloe made one mistake, stopped, and waited for herself to explode. "Again," I said. "I messed up." "Yes." "You heard it." Everyone in the building heard it. She looked shocked. Then, despite herself, she laughed. It was small, but it was real. After the lesson, Chloe ran to the restroom loudly, announcing it as if leaving us alone were an accident. Adrian stayed by the window. "I need to apologise," he said. "Yes," I said, "you do." He looked at me, surprised. "I am sorry," he said, "for what I said, for making Rebecca's death a weapon, for acting as if your pain counted less because it was different from mine." I swallowed. "Thank you." "There is more." I took out my phone. "Before you say anything, I need you to listen to this. Not here, not with Chloe in the building. At home, alone first." He looked at the file name, his face drained. "Rebecca. Her sister sent it." He did not touch the phone at first. "I do not know if I can." "You can, but you do not have to do it in this hallway." He nodded, then took it as if it was something fragile enough to break his hands. That evening I waited. I made tea I did not drink. I stood at the window. I watched snow collect on the sill. Every sound from the phone made my heart jump. Near 9, one message came. "Found it." That was all. Found what? The courage? The recording? The truth? Himself? An hour later, there was a knock at my apartment door. Adrian stood outside, pale and shaken, holding an old envelope. "May I come in?" I stepped aside. He entered carefully, like a man walking through a church after a funeral. He took off his coat, hung it with the kind of precision people use when everything inside them is chaos, and stood in my living room, holding the envelope. "I listened," he said. I nodded. Then I remembered something. Rebecca left letters, different ones, for birthdays, for Chloe's graduation, for days she said would be hard. There was one envelope I never opened because of what it said. He held it out. On the front, in faded ink, were the words, "When the pain becomes quieter." I thought opening it meant accepting she was gone, he said. So I kept it in a box and built my life around not touching it. And tonight? Tonight I opened it. His voice broke. There was no prohibition, no command to stay alone, no warning that loving someone else would betray her. He pressed his hand over his eyes. She wrote that Chloe could not grow up inside a glass case, that grief would always hurt, but life had to stand beside it. She wrote that if I stayed alone out of fear, I would become a shadow, and Chloe would grow up beside a shadow. I could not breathe. And then she wrote, he unfolded the letter with shaking hands. If a woman ever comes into your life who does not compete with me, who does not try to erase me, who respects that I existed and loves what I loved, then do not push her away. Hold on. That is not betrayal. That is mercy. The room blurred. Adrian, I whispered. Chloe heard me crying, he said. What? I thought she was asleep. She came into the kitchen barefoot, holding that ridiculous yellow blanket she still pretends she does not need. She asked, Dad, are you crying because Mom died or because you are alive? He gave a broken laugh. What do you say to that? The truth. I told her both. He looked at me then, and for the first time since I had known him, I saw not only grief in his face, but space around it, room for something else. She listened to part of the recording, not all, enough. Then she asked if loving you would make Mom disappear. My hands clenched. What did you say? I said no. I said her mother was not a drawing on a chalkboard. We do not erase one love to write another. I started crying again. And what did she say? She said she hated that answer because it made sense. I laughed through the tears. We sat in my kitchen for a long time after that. Adrian did not say much. He held the envelope. I poured tea, forgot the sugar, added too much, threw one cup away, made another. Our hands shook around ordinary things. Finally, he asked, Did you buy the ticket? Yes. Can you return it? There it was. Not a grand declaration, not a speech in the rain, a small, practical question with an entire future inside it. I can, I said, but I need something from you. Anything. No more pushing me out because fear tells you it is cleaner. If you panic, you say you are panicking. If Chloe is angry, we face it slowly. If this is too much, we talk. But you do not decide alone that leaving me will protect everyone. He nodded. I promise. Do not promise perfectly. Promise honestly. Honestly, then, I will probably be afraid again. So will I. But I will come back. That was the promise I needed. Not that he would never hurt me. Not that Chloe would suddenly accept everything. Not that the dead would stop mattering, or the living would stop being complicated. Only that he would come back. The next lesson. Chloe arrived, carrying her folder and wearing the lopsided braid Adrian had made. It was better than before, still crooked, proudly so. She sat at the piano without taking off her coat. Dad told me you might not leave, she said. I returned the ticket. That does not mean you cannot buy another one. No, it does not. She looked at me. Are you going to try to be my mum? The question was blunt enough to cut. No, I said. Her eyes searched my face. Then what are you going to be? I thought carefully. If you let me, I can be Vivian. She looked down at the keys. That is not a family word. It can become one. Her mouth twisted. Maybe. Maybe is allowed. She played terribly that day, not because she could not play, because she was thinking too much. Every few minutes she glanced toward me, as if checking whether I had changed shape. After the lesson, she lingered by the door. Mum sang, she said. Your dad told me. She sang when she made pancakes. That sounds nice. It was annoying sometimes. Good memories often are. Chloe nodded, then said so softly I almost missed it. If I forget her voice, will that be bad? I knelt so I would not tower over her. Forgetting a sound is not the same as losing love. How do you know? Because I cannot remember my grandmother's voice anymore, but I still know how safe I felt when she held my hand. Chloe's eyes filled. I remember Mum's voice. Then we will protect that and if one day it gets softer, we will protect the love." She nodded once. Then, with great irritation, she hugged me. "This is not a big deal," she muttered into my coat. "Of course not." Adrian saw the end of the hug from the hallway. He did not interrupt. He only stood there with one hand on the doorframe, looking as if something inside him had been given back and taken away at the same time. When Chloe pulled away, she saw him and immediately became furious. "You didn't see anything." "I saw nothing," he said. "Good. Except maybe a piano bench." "Dad!" "A very emotional piano bench." She rolled her eyes, but she was smiling when she turned away. That small joke did more for us than any serious conversation could have done. It gave Chloe a way to step back from the edge without admitting she had been there. It gave Adrian permission to be a father for a moment, instead of a widower measuring every word against the dead. It gave me a glimpse of what the house might sound like if laughter were allowed to stay. From then on, healing came in uneven pieces. Chloe had good days and awful ones. Some days she asked me to braid her hair. Other days she refused to speak except through exaggerated piano notes. Adrian had moments when guilt took him by the throat and made him distant. I had moments when old fear whispered that I was foolish to trust a man with so much grief still in him. But we kept returning. That became the rhythm of us. Return after the argument. Return after the silence. Return after the memory that hurts. Return after the child says something sharp because she is terrified of needing you. Spring arrived slowly. Chloe prepared for the music school recital with the seriousness of a soldier before battle. She chose a simple piece, then declared it too easy, then cried because the harder one was too hard, then chose the simple piece again and insisted it had been my idea. Adrian and I sat through many practice sessions in which she began by saying, "Nobody breathe," then accused us of being too quiet. The night of the recital, the hall was full of parents with phones, grandparents with flowers, siblings sliding down in their seats. Chloe wore a blue dress Rebecca had once bought too large, saved for someday. Margaret, Rebecca's sister, came too. She hugged Adrian, then hugged me and whispered, "Thank you for listening." When Chloe walked onto the stage, she looked tiny under the lights. For one terrible second, I thought she might run. Then she sat, placed her hands on the keys, and began. The first notes were soft, uneven, human. Then the melody found itself. Chloe did not play perfectly. She rushed the middle and missed one note near the end, but she did not stop. She kept going, shoulders straight, jaw set, brave in the way children are brave when they are still afraid. When she finished, the room applauded. She stood, bowed too quickly, and searched the audience. First she found Adrian, then she found me. Her eyes asked a question. "Did you hear?" I nodded. I heard. "I am proud." She looked down, embarrassed, but she was smiling. After the recital, outside in the cool spring night, Chloe took Adrian's hand, then mine. She did it quickly, as if hoping no one would make a ceremony out of it. "We are going home," she said. "Are we?" Adrian asked. "Yes, all of us." So we did. Months passed. We did not become a perfect family because perfect families exist mostly in photographs and lies. We became something better, real. Sometimes awkward, sometimes tender, sometimes bruised and still trying. Rebecca's photograph stayed on the mantel in Adrian's house. Not hidden, not worshipped like a shrine. Present. Chloe spoke about her more often after she stopped fearing the subject would break everyone. On Rebecca's birthday, we made pancakes for dinner because Adrian said she used to do that when money was tight and spirits were lower. I burned the first batch. Chloe looked at them and said, "Mum would have laughed." "At me or with me?" I asked. "Both." That felt like acceptance. Not of me replacing anyone, of all of us making room. The following winter, on the day of the first snow, Chloe asked if we could walk to the park. Adrian looked at me over her head. The old fear passed through his face, but it did not stay. "Are you sure?" he asked her. Chloe nodded. "I don't want snow to be only that night." So we went. The park was quiet, covered in a thin white layer. The bare branches held the snow like lace. Our breath rose in little clouds. Chloe walked between us and held both our hands as if she had always belonged there. At the hill near the playground, she ran ahead and kicked snow into the air. "Look!" she shouted. "First snow is not even scary!" Adrian watched her, tears bright in his eyes. "Vivian," he said quietly. "Yes?" "I cannot promise I will never be afraid again." "I do not need that promise." "Then what do you need?" I looked at Chloe laughing under the grey sky, at the man beside me, at the snow falling gently over a world that had once seemed cruel and now seemed simply alive. "Promise me you will come back," I said. "When you get scared, when grief gets loud, when you want to hide, come back to us." He took my hand. "I promise." Chloe turned and waved both arms. "Are you two being weird again?" "A little," Adrian called. "Stop it. Come see this." We walked toward her, and for the first time in a long time, the question inside me was not, "What if this ends?" It was quieter than that, stronger. We will face what comes. That is what love became for me. Not rescue, not replacement, not a promise that no one will ever hurt again. Love became the courage to stay in the room where grief also lives, the patience to let a child love her mother and still reach for your hand, the humility to understand that you are not the first chapter of someone's heart, and you do not have to be in order to matter. Sometimes the people we lose leave behind more than sorrow. Sometimes, if we are lucky, they leave a door, a song, a letter, a voice telling the living not to turn love into a museum. Rebecca gave us that. Chloe gave us the chance to earn it. Adrian gave me the promise to return. And I, who had spent years believing that being left once meant I should never risk staying again, learned that a heart can break and still become a home. If this story touched you, stay with us for more emotional life stories about love, family, second chances, and the quiet moments that change everything.